A bombshell new report from an old friend of ours who's joining us in a minute details how Ginni Thomas took advantage of and ultimately benefited from a landmark 2010 Supreme Court ruling in which her husband, Justice Clarence Thomas, helped upend nearly a century of campaign spending restrictions. Politico's Heidi Presbella reports that in the months before the 2010 Citizens United ruling that would soon permit a flow of anonymous donor money to nonprofit groups, Ginni Thomas, along with conservative activist Leonard Leo, and a $500,000 Harlan Crow donation, laid the groundwork for such a nonprofit. And just 7 days before the Supreme Court ruling, their application submitted by would-be 2020 coup attorney Cleta Mitchell was approved. All of it setting up, Presbella writes, quote, a billion-dollar force that has helped remake the judiciary and overturn long-standing legal precedents on abortion, affirmative action, and many other issues. Let's bring in Politico investigative correspondent, our good friend Heidi Presbella, on her incredible reporting. Eddie and Maya are with us. Heidi, this is so important and so smart to broaden the lens and slide back the timeline, as we were just talking about in the context of the 2020 election. Take us through your reporting and what you discovered.
Sure. Nicole, we have long known that Leonard Leo is the man behind the conservative dark money movement. What's lesser known is that there was also a plan back just before Citizens United for him to be the conduit for Ginni Thomas to become a movement leader. Now, that blew up pretty quickly due to a call she made to Anita Hill, which is a whole nother story. But when it did blow up, Nicole, there was a plan B. And that's what people don't know and haven't known until our reporting, is that they quickly pivoted. That plan was to use one of Leo's outside dark money groups, a different one that he reactivated almost just coinciding with Ginni Thomas's failed experiment with him, and that group was used to pay Ginni Thomas. We know that from the Post's previous reporting. What I uncovered is that began almost exactly when their own experiment blew up. And what's very important to understand here, Nicole, and what they refused to answer to me in my reporting, was whether those payments ever stopped, how much she was paid, and what she was paid to do. Because there's all kinds of issues here, right? Which is positioning herself to benefit potentially from one of her husband's forthcoming rulings. Then there's questions about the payments, what she was doing. And this nonprofit that was paying her is a charitable group. Now, it's different from the group that she was trying to start herself. So there's very strict IRS rules here around political activity. You can do some limited lobbying, but you're supposed to be primarily charitable in nature, Nicole.
Heidi, does your reporting recast Thomas's concurrence in Dobbs, where he puts marriage equality back on the table?
We did go through a number of the briefs, Nicole, to kind of line up what this group that was filing numerous amicus briefs before her husband's court were adopted. That language was picked up in a number of the briefs. In fact, to reprise some of the actors here from 2020 as well, here's another one for you. John Eastman, also a former Thomas law clerk, who filed one of the initial briefs on Obamacare, trying to roll back the individual mandate. Some of that language was adopted. Now, that failed before the court, but interestingly, it's just one of a number of examples where Thomas did and others adopt the language that JEP, this group, was advocating for. Another one was the Hobby Lobby decision, where Thomas helped write the majority opinion. Now, not to say that there weren't other groups making similar arguments, but here we have no visibility into what Ginni Thomas's role was in this group that was the primary vehicle for Leonard Leo's dark money network to advocate before the court, and its sister organization, the Judicial Crisis Network, which is run also by a former Thomas law clerk, who also was a director on this judicial education project group that was paying Ginni Thomas. So in this case, Nicole, we're not just talking about a billionaire benefactor giving lavish trips to the justices, but we're talking about the biggest conservative legal lobbying operation before the Supreme Court that's filing briefs before Justice Thomas and the rest of the court in payments to a wife whose husband sits on that court. Notably, I tried over several weeks to give them the opportunity to tell me what the payments were for, when they started, when they stopped, and I was never given an answer on that. I was given a firm no comment.